A better way to pay your UTG fees with instant proof of payment and real-time student portal update. Paying your University of the Gambia fees has never been easier or more convenient. With Ecobank, students, parents and guardians can pay UTG tuition and related fees through our secure digital banking channels such as Ecobank mobile app, Ecobank Online and Ecobank Omni Lite. Once payment is completed, instant proof of payment is generated and the UTG student portal is updated in real time, allowing students to proceed immediately with registration, course selection and clearance without unnecessary delays, while giving parents and guardians peace of mind that payments have been successfully processed. How to pay via the Ecobank mobile app. Open the Ecobank mobile app and navigate to the home screen. Select Pay Bill. Choose Pay a New Bill and select Schools from the category options. Select University of the Gambia. Select the specific product you are paying for. Enter your matriculation number and tap Continue. Validate your details. The system will display the payable amount. Press Continue to confirm the payment. An e-receipt is generated automatically as proof of payment with real-time updates on the student portal. How to pay via Ecobank Online or Omni Lite. Log in to Ecobank Online and Omni Lite using your credentials. Select the menu and choose Bill Payments. Choose Quick Bill Pay and select School from the category options. Select University of the Gambia. Select the specific product you are paying for. Enter your matriculation number and tap Continue. Validate your details. The system will display the payable amount. Press Continue to confirm the payment. An e-receipt is generated automatically as proof of payment with real-time updates on the student portal. Walk into any Ecobank branch or pay through our digital channels and enjoy instant proof of payment with real-time updates on the student portal. Ecobank, the Pan-African Bank.
Santa Yala.
Nga xaar utal Wave nga scan nga fay nag doo ci yokk dara.
Jah Oil Company stands tall as a trusted name in energy, keeping the Gambia moving with service stations across the country and a commitment to innovation and reliability. In Farafenni, Jah Group is reshaping our industrial landscape. The Jah Oil Cement Factory can produce up to 100,000 bags a day, reducing imports, creating jobs, and building a stronger Gambia brick by brick. And in the heart of the Central River region, Jah Farming Initiative is cultivating food security. With thousands of hectares under development and modern irrigation, Jah Farming is turning the Gambia's soil into abundance. Jah Group is more than a company. It is a vision of self-sufficiency, resilience, and progress. The Jah Group of companies, investing in industry, agriculture, and energy, building the Gambia's future today. Of course, those of you watching on YouTube, you are seeing me in a completely different form this morning than you ever did. I'm not feeling very well. That's why I'm wearing the beanie. My junior colleagues tell me that it makes me look very funny, but you'd rather have a funny-looking Peter Gomez than not have coffee time on a Monday at all. Today we welcome Omar Saibo Camara. He's the spokesperson of Gambians Against Looted Assets, better known as GALA. This grassroots pressure group has spent the past year challenging corruption and demanding accountability in public life. Their first anniversary was marked by resilience. The initial attempt to celebrate was violently broken up by police, leading to arrests and widespread criticism of heavy-handedness. Yet, undeterred, GALA regrouped and successfully commemorated its milestone at the Youth Monument in Westfield. Camara has been at the forefront of this struggle, insisting that GALA is a peaceful, law-abiding movement whose only weapons are their voices. Today he joins us to reflect on the lessons of the past year, the challenges of activism in the Gambia, and the road ahead in the fight against looted assets. Welcome to Coffee Time. I think this is your first live appearance on the show. We've been hearing your voice usually through, GALA events. But to see you in person, this is the first time.
Thank you very much, Uncle Peter, and it's a pleasure to be on Coffee Time. Of course, this is my first time. I have my voice recorded by Isa a couple of times, but it's a pleasure to be in the studio with you, and I look forward to a truthful discussion. And good morning to the viewers and listeners out there, and greetings from Gambians against looted assets.
Fantastic. What drives you personally to commit to this cause despite great risks?
Uncle Peter, I have been on the streets for the past 10 years prior to the establishment of GALA, and simply because I believe in the never again mantra. If you follow the transitional justice process and what has happened here for 22 years of Jammeh's regime, I thought offering myself to protect rights, to ensure that corruption is eradicated and accountability and transparency become the cornerstone of governance is what inspired me to get into activism. And, I began in 2018 up to the formation of Gambians Against Looted Assets in 2025. Of course, I remember my first protest that I co-organized and led was the protest against the Supplementary Appropriation Bill. If you remember in 2018, I think in the Constitution that after a fiscal budget is submitted, the Ministry of Finance could establish a supplementary appropriation bill, also known as the emergency funds that may not be captured there. So in 2018, the finance minister went beyond the 1%, stipulated that it cannot be more than 1% of the total budget for that fiscal year. And, we organized what is called Occupy National Assembly. And from there, I physically and, inspired into activism. And until today, I am on the streets.
Okay. Let's go back to the first attempt at celebrating, the anniversary. How did the police intervention affect some of your members, and what lessons did you draw from that experience?
It was an unfortunate scene, Uncle Peter, because the police or the state have a special interest in what GALA does and how GALA do things actually, because first of all, I have been in the civil society and activism, like I said, and I have led projects and programs at the Youth Monument. I have never sought for permit. And then the recent one was I was a mini consultant for Fantanka for the celebration of the April 10-11 that was just a month ago or less. And we commemorated at the Youth Monument. All what we did was pay at the KMC and get approval. So the whole idea is, for me, I think the state want to paint GALA an image that the society will think that these are kids, unruly kids, indisciplined kids you have the amunyar and all of that, just because they feel like we are against them or we hate them and all of that. We don't hate individuals. I don't hate MPP, nor do I hate Adama Barrow, and all what we hate is corruption, impunity, and disregard for the rule of law. So what the police action did was to interrupt the whole commemoration so that they have a point on GALA again. And unfortunately, the state needs to understand that there are fundamental human rights that are not offered. We don't buy them in the market. They are natural and nobody can take them from us. And in fact, we have been advertising that event for a month, Uncle Peter. It's a phone call from the police. They have our contacts. We have been in contact with them to tell them, we saw you organizing this, but do you know that you need a permit? We're going to look for permit. We are not outlaw. A movement like GALA must be within the confinement of the law, because whatever we fight is what is against the law. So, but unfortunately the police came and, and they were shocked actually that we got approval from KMC, because I remember when...
Shocked.
Yeah, because when it was Kwate and then Dauda, I think OC for operations in the Kanifi municipality that came there, and when they asked us where do we get approval from to use, when we saw them the approval from KMC, they had to take a picture of that and send it to their superiors. And this is Kwete's word when he called me back. Well, we know you get this, but we still got directives that you cannot hold this commemoration here.
So they came pounced on you, believing or thinking that you people had no permit
approval
of any sort.
Exactly.
And when you showed them KMC's permit, they were shocked.
They were shocked.
But still had to go ahead with disrupting.
Because if they knew that we had the permit, they would have not, in fact, be shocked to have to take a photo of the permit, send it to wherever they send it, to come back to us and said, okay, we know this is what is happening. However, this is what our superiors said.
Okay. So what triggered the violence? Is it resisting arrest from, by some of you?
Yes. So me personally, I don't resist arrest most of the time, because I know I am within the confinement of the law. But did you resist
arrest on this day?
I did not. Okay. We were the first to get arrested. So for me, the kind of arrest that always happen, it shocks me. So I don't even know how to react. Because what happened when they came, they said we're not going to hold it there. I had a discussion with them. And they blocked our PS system from entering. And some of us that were inside were refused to go out. Oh. Right? Because it was the general duties that were on the ground. And all of a sudden, it was the PIU that came. And then the guy came directly to me and said he wants to speak to me. And what are you doing here? We are commemorating our 1-year anniversary. Do you have a permit? No, we don't have a permit. Arrest them. It was as simple as that.
Why did you say you didn't have a permit? You didn't have a police permit, but you had a KMC
Yeah,
permit.
we have an approval. They did not allow us to go further to explain that. I did not have the opportunity to explain that. In fact, the guy behind me, that is the General Secretary, Omar, told them what we have, and it was like, I was not talking to you. That's what the commanding officer said. And we got arrested. So when we got arrested, myself, the national coordinator, and I think we were 5 of almost the entire central committee was arrested. And I think it was Aliu and Galas that were outside. And then those people regrouped. So the regrouping is where the confrontation comes. Let's say, for example, obviously Aliu will always resist arrest.
Why would Aliu always resist
Because
arrest?
for him, he has a mentality that you cannot arrest him easily unlawfully. So he always resist arrest. And that's why he also see that...
Is that what triggered the violence?
Of course. Because the way they always treat Aliu will always trigger anger in the people, right? And that's where the violence came from. Okay. But it was not over though. But because at the end of the day,
as you heard in Esaba's report, some label GALA as confrontational. How do you respond to this perception?
Well, we are confrontational, Uncle Peter. If you read the theory of advocacy, there are two: conventional and confrontational. Right? Oh. Those are the two advocacy tools.
And you opted for confrontational.
We do both. We are conventional and we are confrontational. However, our part of being confrontational is simply because the state never wants to go conventional. The state will always trigger the confrontational path of our advocacy. That is, they will bounce on us, and we will have to resist, and we will have to fight back, because we cannot watch our rights continually being violated, and in the state taking us for a ride for simply being a movement that wants to exercise our rights, that wants to fight a collective effort and a collective fight in this country. So we are proudly confrontational. And being confrontational in advocacy is not in any way being rude, being indisciplined or whatsoever, if you read the theories of advocacy.
Okay, so eventually you sought and got a police permit, and the anniversary went ahead without any incident. Why didn't you, seek a police permit in the first place?
So we did not seek for a police permit.
You did not?
We set a new precedence. You see, the language of law.
But we saw the police publish a letter, giving permission.
Of course.
And we assume that you people had written seeking this permission.
No. Uncle Peter,
yeah.
the language of the law is very clear. The Public Order Act did not ask anybody to send a notification. They asked you to seek for a permission. And in seeking for a permission, you will have the police to approve your date, your venue, and where you do
That's
it.
That's what I'm saying. So you wrote to the police.
We wrote to the police and notifying them that tomorrow We wrote to them on Thursday and said, tomorrow, at this time, we are celebrating our anniversary at the Youth Monument. We request for security. This was different from seeking for a permit, going by the law language.
Not seeking clearance to hold this.
We are not seeking. We did not seek for clearance because we already gonna go ahead with it. What we did was to notify them so that they provide security. Because sometimes also we need to understand that if the state wants to corner you somewhere, they were like, for security reasons, that's why they wanted us to seek for permit. We don't need a permit, so we seek. And we notify them so that they provide security, and also that have set a new precedent in this country that Gambia is not a unique case if you come to the Public Order Act under Uncle Peter. The UK that colonized us, that built this Public Order Act, have a Public Order Act. But what do? You notify the police. You don't need to seek for permission. Yeah. In Ghana, you notify the police. Yeah. And most of the British colonies...
Well, actually, even permission is not given by the police.
Exactly.
It's another authority, the municipal authority.
Exactly.
They give you the permit in the UK, and the police, though, have a right to say, you cannot process through these, whatever. They guide
Of course. This was not a protest. Okay. So we don't even need a permit in the first place. Okay. So we notify the police. In fact, when we went there, we had a meeting with the IG. When we were entering the building, he saw us from his CC camera. He came down himself to ask us to go to his office. And then sometimes that is what is baffling about the state and then the police, right? We go to that headquarters, the whole claim is we are brothers, we can negotiate, we can talk about issues. But if IG sent his men in the field, he refused to tell them that you need to negotiate, you need to listen to each other, you don't have to be brutal. So that is double standards. Because the kind of discussion we had with the IG when he brought us to his office, if we continue to have that, there will be that mutual respect between GALA and the police and the state.
Why do you think the government, views GALA with suspicion, and how do you counter the narrative that your group is destabilizing rather than being reform-minded?
Yeah, because no government that is highly corrupt with an incompetent leadership, this total disregard for the rule of law.
That's how you describe the Adama Barrow government.
Of course, the Adama Barrow government is corrupt to the core, continues to disregard the rule of law, and he is incompetent. So this futures in a leader will be very uncomfortable with a movement like Gambians Against Looted Assets that are up to fight against corruption, to ensure that accountability, transparency, and the rule of law is the cornerstone of our democratic governance. So there is no way that government will be comfortable with us. And I repeat, I've been saying this, we don't hate President Barrow. We don't have any business with President Barrow when he was only CEO at Majum. I don't even know him. I don't have a business with him. But you see, if you carry public office, you must be ready to receive the hit that comes with accountability. And this is what GALA does and will continue to do, regardless of their perception about us.
Has GALA sought dialogue with the government, or is it the security forces, to explain its mission? And if so, what has been the response? You just mentioned meeting the Inspector General of Police. Did you explain your mission to him clearly enough?
Well, we did. We told him very clearly that, we are not a rebel movement. We are responsible citizens, Peter. We all have our degrees, our education, our work beyond the streets. We are not just anybody. And all what we want the state to know, that they cannot in any way dodge accountability. You see, movements are part of democracy. We are part of the governance structure. The governance is not just about Mansakunda, it's not just about the parliament, it's not about the judiciary, it's not just about the civil society. Also, you need to have pressure groups, and that is why, political parties also exist. So there is a cycle in governance structure, and then movements are prominent about it. It's not only in the Gambia. Look, the EU face more pressure from movements than any other. I mean, not just a single government. I mean a collection of governments of one of the most powerful states in this country and in this world. And anywhere else you have movements that collaborate with government, but also ensure that the government is put on check and is accountable for the everyday running of a state. So we don't want to seek dialogue with a government that is already criminalizing.
You don't want to seek dialogue?
For now, we don't want to seek. Because if the government wants to do dialogue, they don't go violent. Peter, as I speak to you...
Maybe it's because they do not understand your mission.
They understand exactly what our missions are. I know that the president is not smart enough. He doesn't understand these issues. But you have people in that government.
You won't be dealing directly with the president. You'll be dealing with the Minister of Interior, for instance.
That's what I'm telling you. The Minister of Interior and many other ministers who were sometime more vocal than Gala about this government are in that seat, and they know exactly what it takes to have movements. They know exactly where to hit if they want to have dialogue with movements, with civil society, with outside groups. They don't want to have dialogue. That's why they are always confrontational, because they have one mission, Peter. They always want to paint Gala as some type of indisciplined kids, so that the masses we are fighting for don't understand our mission, because we have a simple mission to run. And then our mission is we need to liberate the masses. The Gambian people have suffered since 1965 out of bad governance. Gambia is not poor, Uncle Peter. Poorly managed from 1965.
Okay.
As of 2026, people go to bed hungry in this country. People die in hospitals because we don't have health care. And even our schools cannot educate us. That is catastrophic. And this is the mission of Gala.
I thought you were a UTG graduate. So, I mean, the UTG has educated you well, hasn't it?
But of course, but when I said this, even that education, it has limited. You know how much challenges I have faced, Peter, in going to UTG, and then you know this if you go out to do your masters, to do your PhD, you go out, you feel like you have never been to school before, because everything is just not how it is globally. Right? Ask people that go out. Of course, UTG is trying. But how many people are able to go to UTG? How many people are able to go to UTG and graduate and think that this country needs to be salvaged, this country needs to be saved from the hand? Very limited, because our educational system is not even reflecting the realities of our society.
You said a moment ago that the government is trying to paint this negative picture of you so that, it comes between you and the people you represent. Are you beginning to feel that people are changing their opinion about Gala? They're becoming hostile. They're viewing Gala's motives as, confrontational and destabilizing.
Not necessarily. The number of Gambians that still believe in Gala don't even believe in that government, to be honest with you. Because home and abroad, every day, thousands of Gambians are behind Gala, and they understand the mission. They know what Gala opted for. They know what our mission are. And then they're not able to do this. And that what put anger into them, that they will always create unnecessary chaos around Gala. But like Uncle Peter, you need to understand the history of movements in this country, especially in the New Gambia. There are a lot of movements that we are supposed to emerge. So having Gala sustained for an year alone is a hit for this government. And that's also so that we have been embraced by the Gambian people. Otherwise, we will not survive it. Movements are not built on one individual or a central committee. Movements are built on a mass mobilization. And we got this. Not everybody coming on the streets, but everyone, every genuine Gambian that is affected and that knows that our society is corrupt to the core and is deep-rooted into inequalities, will continue to support Gala. So the government cannot break that cycle.
Okay. So is Gala there to expose corruption, or is it there to recover looted assets? Gambians against looted assets. That's your name.
Yes. So the history of Gala, of course, where the name emerged from, is because of the sales and disposals of the Jame assets by the Jane Commission, of course, and that was the main mission, and then the name came and was born out of that. But of course, every day assets are looted in this country, because every corruption, every money stolen, every property procured improperly, and every fuel coupon stolen is still looted assets. These assets belongs to the Gambian people. So the name reflects on our daily. So we don't only recover assets, but also we ensure that corruption is exposed, but most importantly, corruption is eradicated in this country. We are 2.5 million people. Nobody should go hungry in this country. Nobody should not be able to pay their hospital bills in this country. And if that happens, it's simply because mismanagement of state resources and public sector corruption.
You think that's the reason? It's not because we don't have resources.
We have resources.
Well, the government always says it doesn't have. That's why it goes and borrows money all the time.
Yeah. That is because all our government don't think inwards. You see, I always take this as an example. as fun that you see in serious countries. You see presidents come into power, 1 year they grow gray hair because they think.
Well, Obama
seriously.
did.
Obama, exactly. Yeah. Obama is the good example I was going to say. But in the Gambia, they grow bellies.
Oh, bellies.
Bellies, of course.
Pot bellies.
Pot bellies.
Oh.
And build mansions. Right? And that shows you there are resources. Peter, today we should be able to position ourselves very well in the global market if we come to supply of fish. We have the ozone. Right? Before we give it to the Chinese, we could employ thousands of Gambian people and build a factory. Peter, if you go to a supermarket in New York, in Florence today, you buy mango juice cheaper than you buy it in Gambian supermarkets. But it's in the season right now. You will see mangoes spoiled everywhere. Can't we produce mangoes? Can we produce fruit juice and then supply the world market instead of going to buy it at an expensive price? So we have what it takes to build this country. But deliberately, one thing our politicians know is that they can only control a poor society. Because if somebody is poor, it's easily manipulated, and they know how to eradicate our poverty, but they will not do it simply because they can control only the poor. So that's where the problem lies. So we have the resources. Why are we borrowing in the first place? We should be able to amass our resources and build on that. And then whatever we are going to borrow is going to be limited to supplement what we are already able to do. But we are focused on borrowing because that's where they can steal more as well. In fact, where is the borrowing affecting? I'm reflecting on our daily lives, Peter. No. A minister that comes to the studio comes with a Prado worth 12 million. But
12 million?
Do you know that his wife and his children have a utility car, fuel, and then drive by the state to take them to the market and to take them to school?
So these big cars that the ministers drive is valued at $12 million.
That's what they
That's
say.
a lot of money.
Right? And then that minister will not understand the suffering of my mother that put a pannier on her head in Bansang and go to the market and go to the Faros. So they know how to fix this, but they don't want to fix it. Even the things they are fixing it at a very low quality. The roads they are building, the hospitals and health centers they are building, they are just there to camouflage. It's more of quantity over quality. Go and see the roads that they inaugurated 3 years ago.
Where?
All over. Let's say, for example, the Canifing Road. You go there already, it having potholes everywhere. Let's say the Haklang Road. Go to the Haklang Road today. It's like it's built 10 years ago.
Haklang?
Yeah.
It's already disintegrated?
It's already disintegrated.
Oh.
It's like it's some 10 years road. So that's where the point is. The point is, even these projects that they claim, they simply do them because the kickbacks are more than the delivery service.
Well, the president is, up country, inaugurating roads left, right, and center. But let's stick with GALA. You collaborate with other civil society organizations, right?
Yeah, we do.
All of them local or international? And if international, who are you collaborating?
Both local and international. So we have our main partners. We have Activista de Gambia. We have Edward Francis Small Center for Right and Justice. But of course, we have Gambia participating.
You know what the government will say? I mean, that is the biggest troublemaker in this country, Madi Jobate.
Of course.
So anybody who associates with Madi Jobate has to be a troublemaker.
Not necessarily. That's an accusation. Madi is one of the most patriotic citizens that have consistently been on his thread. Most of the government officers that say that have been inconsistent all their life. But at least, regardless of how they paint Madi have been that consistent human being all his life, and he believes in what he do. He's not here today and say blue and tomorrow goes there and say pink. He doesn't do that. So internationally, we have Manko, that is a Kenyan movement, and we have Africa Rising.
Manko?
Yes.
Yeah, that sounds like a wall of food.
Yeah, exactly. And we have Africa Rising, that is a continental movement that also support us, that also partner with us. So we have those.
Are they the ones that provide the funds, to sustain the organization?
Yes. So no, the biggest funding comes from the people, crowdfunding.
Really?
Of course.
You crowdfund?
Yes.
And
people
respond?
Our first 300,000 above was crowdfunded. Was people sending in, Peter, like I said, I'm in the activism for the past 10 years, but for the first time, Gambians will send $5, $10, $1,000, but also 10,000 to fund a protest, to fund a movement in this country. So on top of that, we have activists that have been key in funding most of our activities beyond the street, but also on the streets. Let's say, for example, the commemoration was funded by activists. Initially, they gave us the budget, but later when we were released on that Monday, we went to Fatu, Kerfatu. We were also able to raise almost 100,000 above on that. So from the citizens again, and Africa Rising also have been chipping in anytime we got arrested, anytime we are going to protest or we want to do activities. So, but our biggest funders are the Gambian citizens, both home and abroad.
So you are not using any of the love. You are not losing any of the love from the public, despite government's effort to stain your image.
We cannot. I said Monday when we left the cells, when we left the court, we went directly to Kerfatu for a special show. We raised over 100,000 in 1 hour.
Oh, well done.
Gambians home and abroad.
Well done.
So,
okay, you are all about anti-corruption. How do you deal with corruption within your own movement? Usually Gambia, wherever there is money.
Yes. So we have a very transparent, accountable mechanisms, and what we do is all the funds that we receive, we produce a sheet, and then public this to the public. A spreadsheet, and this is public. This is produced to the public, and also our expenditures and where we spend it and how it happens.
I haven't seen any publication.
We did in our after our.
So it would say water 30,000.
Yes, water 30,000.
Why should we believe 30,000?
We have receipts. Whoever wants to further, we cannot publish all those petty documents at once. Okay. But whoever wants to confirm.
And you wouldn't entertain inflated receipts and all of that.
No, we cannot do that. We are anti-corruption. We are born out of fighting for corruption. There is no way that we're gonna involve ourselves in anything. But also, most of the time, what we do, we cannot even inflate or get into those kind of things, because it's either water.
Everything happens in procurement. Everything happens in procurement, I can tell you.
Yeah, so yeah. I agree. But as a movement, we don't get into those kind of things. Our principles and our values are highly, highly respected, and nobody dare to do otherwise.
Okay. What changes in law or enforcement are needed to make asset recovery possible? You are all about being against, looted assets, but I suppose you want the looted assets recovered.
Of course, I think first we need to ensure that the Anti-Corruption Commission is enforced, is established, and that way asset recovery become easier. But also we need to have, financial.
Yeah, but there's AMRC. It's still not been,
So that's what I'm saying.
Washed, has it?
So that's what I'm saying.
AMRC should be able to recover those assets. That's what they're.
Yeah, but you understand that we have weak institutions, right? And functionality becomes a huge problem if you come to all of these institutions, because certain institutions are supposed to be very, very independent, but by virtue of our constitution and laws, they cannot be independent, Peter.
Which institutions, for instance?
A lot of institutions, ombudsman.
But ombudsman is independent, isn't?
Who appoints them?
Huh?
Who appoints?
Well, the president appoints them, but
so that's where the problem lies. When last this ombudsman?
Well, the president appoints the chief justice. You're not suggesting that the chief justice is not independent.
Well, we have seen a lot of injustice in this country, and the chief justice have never done anything about them. So.
And that's because
that is exactly because
he doesn't have the independence.
For me, that's what I'm going to say. That's what I'm going to say. We have seen. Have you ever seen that citizens been arrested in this country and citizens been maltreated in this country? Injustice happen everywhere. The chief justice doesn't say anything, and I'm sure he doesn't even advise the president, because aside the justice minister, the chief justice should be able to caution the president on issues of justice, judiciary matters. He doesn't even do them.
You're sure that's part of his mandate?
That should be part of his mandate, because the Chief Justice is the overall watch of judiciary matters, and that includes issues of justice. So we have never seen the Chief Justice say anything about injustice in this country. And we have seen that many other institutions are not primarily independent, Uncle Peter, in this country, simply because they are directly appointed by the president, and therefore they dance to the tune of the president. And that is why even the IG will arrest people and put them behind bars for 72 hours only to open bail because there is no option again because the 72 hours has collapsed. When we were arrested on Friday, our lawyers opted for bail. They refused a bail on Friday. They refused a bail on Saturday. They refused a bail on Sunday. They only bailed us or attempted to bail us because they knew the 72 hours was elapsed, not because they wanted to do. So you see all of these issues come down to say that our institutions are not still independent. They still dance to the tune of the presidency.
What are GALA's priorities for the coming year? You just celebrated your first year. Over the next 12 months, what are your priorities?
Well, so GALA is a movement that doesn't have a work plan.
You don't have a work plan?
We run based on demand.
Based on demand?
Of course. If we say we want to, I know one thing is certain, that the next 1 year we're going to tour this country, right? In July, we're going to go across this country to speak to farmers, to speak to gardeners, to speak to teachers.
You know what the government will say? You are interfering politically with
well, we as citizens,
with people
as citizens, we have a right to civic exercise and civic engagement. So that is not political interference. Aside that, every day GALA could do something. If somebody is maltreated, let's say for example, for the past 1 year, we don't have a work plan. When we came out to protest after our first protest in July 23rd, we did it out of the urgency to address and petition issues. When we went out in August about the removal of the Auditor General, that was no plan. That was a necessity at that time. When we went to Mandinaring in September.
So you're a reactive organization. So you react to developments.
Yes, we are proactive. We create a mass-based and aware citizenry that understand their rights. That we do it on a daily basis, like appearance here and other engagements. But also, if the state or individual rights are broken, corruption emerge from somewhere, we go after them. So we don't have movements don't have a permanent work plan. We work based on demand. If citizens in Basse call GALA today and say there is this injustice here, we want you to protest, we move to Basse. We ensure that is fixed. Because if you have a work plan, meaning we don't even know what exactly we're doing, because movements run on that.
And are you targeting only central government? Because we know also that a lot is happening at local government level. Peter, there is corruption.
We are targeting
widespread corruption at local government level.
We are targeting.
But so far, your target is the Adama Barrow government.
So our target is everyone. It's unfortunately that is the Adama Barrow government where evidence are coming out now. And if you remember our July 23rd protest, we also petitioned the local councils. We cautioned them and we also told them clearly that we are waiting for the report from the...
The report is out.
Yeah. We saw the report.
Barrow has vowed that, it will be implemented to the letter.
To the letter. We watch for that implementation to happen. And then part of it, we also going to hold anybody accountable that is found wanting of corruption and any other mismanagement of state resources at local level. So nobody is exempted in our cause to call for accountability, transparency, and respect for the rule of law, regardless of your position, central government, local government, any other person, even the private sector. If there is a need for us to intervene in injustice and corruption and how they run the affairs of this, because they are a great part of our governance structure, we're going to go out with them.
And just finally, after the clashes with the police, how do you reassure Gambians that GALA is a law-abiding organization and not a threat, to public order? Because the police could say, the clashes erupted because they were resisting arrest.
Yeah, but
you know that one of the functions of the police is to go out there and arrest people who are seen to be, violating the law somehow.
Well, then President Barrow should be arrested.
For doing what?
For being corrupt. Then state ministers should be arrested for being corrupt. These are not hearsay. These are not assumptions. We have seen audit reports. We have seen commission reports. There is no violation of the law more than stealing from the public funds. But they don't arrest them. In fact, how many corruption cases are laid before the police to investigate and they cannot investigate it? That's where they should redirect their energy. Not law-binding citizens. We have never broken any law in this country, Uncle Peter, since we started. The only time we clash with the police is when the police come and use force and violence. And I think the citizens obviously and then see this all the time, that we never throw stones on the police. We have never insult the police. We have never fight with the police. All what we do is resist arrest because the arrests are unlawful, and then we cannot just succumb to unlawful orders and arrest by the state. That's all what we do. And then to the Gambian people, GALA is your movement, is the people's movement. Anchor on the principles of truth, accountability, transparency, and respect for the rule of law. And therefore, we are not outlaw. We are within the confinement of the law, and our engagements are highly within the law. We respect the law. What we don't respect is somebody violating the law against us, somebody unlawfully acting on us simply because they have a certain level or their boss is not happy with us. So we are here for the Gambian people, and all what we want is a better Gambia in Nyamina and in Basse, for the gardener in Jarasoma, for the teacher in Bolibana, and for the nurse in Basse. We simply want a better Gambia where us and our children and future generations will not be born to abject poverty deliberately, not because we are poor, but because we are poorly managed. Nor should we have people go to hungry. People go to bed hungry in this country, Uncle Peter, in the 21st century, 2026. This is what we fight against.
Omar, thank you very much for your time this morning.
A better way to pay your UTG fees with instant proof of payment and real-time student portal update. Paying your University of the Gambia fees has never been easier or more convenient. With Ecobank, students, parents and guardians can pay UTG tuition and related fees through our secure digital banking channels such as Ecobank mobile app, Ecobank online and Ecobank Omni Lite. Once payment is completed, instant proof of payment is generated and the UTG student portal is updated in real time, allowing students to proceed immediately with registration, course selection, and clearance without unnecessary delays, while giving parents and guardians peace of mind that payments have been successfully processed. How to pay via the Ecobank mobile app. Open the Ecobank mobile app and navigate to the home screen. Select Pay Bill, choose Pay a New Bill, and select Schools from the category options. Select University of the Gambia. Select the specific product you are paying for. Enter your matriculation number and tap Continue. Validate your details. The system will display the payable amount. Press Continue to confirm the payment. An e-receipt is generated automatically as proof of payment with real-time updates on the student portal. How to pay via Ecobank Online or Omni Lite. Log in to Ecobank Online and Omni Lite using your credentials. Select the menu and choose Bill Payments. Choose Quick Bill Pay and select School from the category options. Select University of the Gambia. Select the specific product you are paying for. Enter your matriculation number and tap Continue. Validate your details. The system will display the payable amount. Press Continue to confirm the payment. An e-receipt is generated automatically as proof of payment with real-time updates on the student portal. Walk into any Ecobank branch or pay through our digital channels and enjoy instant proof of payment with real-time updates on the student portal. Ecobank, the Pan-African Bank.
Wépp lay fay. Sant Yàlla.
looy xaar utal Wave nga scan nga fay nag doo ci yokku dara.
Jah Oil Company stands tall as a trusted name in energy, keeping the Gambia moving with service stations across the country and a commitment to innovation and reliability. In Farafenni, Jah Group is reshaping our industrial landscape. The Jah Oil Cement Factory can produce up to 100,000 bags a day, reducing imports, creating jobs, and building a stronger Gambia brick by brick. And in the heart of the Central River region, Jah Farming Initiative is cultivating food security. With thousands of hectares under development and modern irrigation, Jah Farming is turning the Gambia's soil into abundance. Jah Group is more than a company. It is a vision of self-sufficiency, resilience, and progress. The Jah Group of companies, investing in industry, agriculture, and energy, building the Gambia's future today.